to Omaha, Nebraska for tonight's matchup between the UC Davis Aggies and the Creighton Blue Jays here at a warm and muggy Morrison Stadium. Welcome into the broadcast booth, everyone. Alongside John Schreiner, I am Josh Peterson. Thank you so much for joining us. John, an interesting matchup 48 hours after these two teams saw the field. They come onto this one, each 1-0 and each looking to improve to 2-0 on this young season.
Yeah, and I think the big question here, Josh, is the legs. Who's going to be in better shape in this early season matchup? You'd have to think it might affect UC Davis a little more, the team that's crossed 2 time zones to be here and had to chase the game against UNO on Friday night.
They certainly did. Let's take a look at the key players that we will see on the field in this one. We begin with UC Davis.
Yeah, Roy Boateng, the absolute anchor at the back for this UC Davis Aggies team. He was the Big West Defensive Player of the Year a year ago. Also, second team All-Region. So a high-caliber performer, and you'd have to figure he's going to be under pressure with his high-pressing attack for the Blue Jays tonight. On the other side, for Creighton, Kuba Polot. We know Joel Ridestrand, the preseason All-Big East honoree, but Kuba Polot, the guy may be the trigger man in this offense as Creighton tries to press forward. He's going to be responsible for breaking up counterattacks and restarting the attack when they get the ball back.
When we return, we'll have the start of this match, plus we'll welcome in the third member of our broadcast team, Emma Brosh. That is coming up next right here on Jay's Video. Welcome back to Morrison Stadium. Creighton and UC Davis just about to get underway. Let's go down onto the field and welcome in the third member of our broadcast team tonight. It's Emma Brosh. Emma, how are you?
Hi, thanks Josh and John. So great to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be back at Morrison Stadium. Only 48 hours after Creighton took down number 11 Clemson on Friday night. Defeated them 2-0, so hopefully we have some fresh legs ready to be back, and I am excited to see what they have for us tonight. So thank you guys for having me, and I'm excited to be here.
All right, thank you very much, Emma. We'll be going down for periodic updates throughout this evening's matchup. John, you see UC Davis there. Let's take a look at the starting lineup first for the Aggies in this one in their matchup tonight versus the Creighton Blue Jays.
Yeah, you see Lapsley started every game a year ago. He's going to be key between the pipes tonight. And then you move up to the front. Adam Mickelson, he's the next name on that list right there, scored the only goal on the only shot on goal against UNO on Friday night. He will be one to watch for up front.
That is the starting lineup there for the UC Davis Aggies. For the Creighton Blue Jays, you see them there wearing their all-blue uniforms tonight. It's another short turnaround. We talked about it in the pregame introduction. There is their starting lineup.
There you see it. Paul Cruz, the new face in net for the Blue Jays. He will figure to be a key factor also. Mentioned Kuba Polot in the open, but Joel Ridestrand, another one in that midfield to look out for. And Anthony Macchione getting the start up front tonight. He's going to have to be very solid in front of that tough back line for UC Davis.
We've talked a little bit about the short turnaround that each of these two teams have had to see. Creighton really did dominate that matchup versus the Clemson Tigers on Friday night. 14 shots versus only 5 for the number 11th ranked team in the country. On the other side, though, for UC Davis, John, they only got 4 shots off, only a couple of them on goal. They did score 1 versus 12 for the Omaha Mavericks, so different ways to get to the result, but here both of them are 1-0 on this early season.
And neither team lost in exhibition play either, so neither team on the pitch tonight has tasted defeat in 2018. One of them is probably going to walk out of here with a mark in that loss column, though.
A lot of new faces on both sides of this matchup. UC Davis, 11 of the team's 28 total players new to this program this season. That's the most that they have ever had in the history of their team. And this one is now underway here at Morrison Stadium. It is a very warm night, an early offside call there on the UC Davis Aggies.
Yeah, Mickelson just trying to get down the line early, a quick start. Just a quick ball out of the circle, and then Kibanguchi knocks it down into the corner for Mickelson to run onto. He just got a little over anxious.
Creighton really did dominate the possession on Friday. Very curious to see how that goes about this night, because early on, and the players talked about it, John, in the post-game interviews that they had with reporters, that early on they knew that Clemson was going to have more size, and Clemson did kind of dominate some of that possession, probably the first 5 minutes or so. And after that, something just switched. And after that, it was all Blue Jays the rest of the evening.
It's something we've become accustomed to seeing under Elmer Bolovich with the Blue Jays, is they're going to dominate possession against just about everyone. They're going to hang on to the ball and knock it around the park. And the question is, can they move it with purpose? Can they create chances? And it's something they struggled with mightily last year, was getting the connection between midfield and forward.
Here's Hawkinson. And that will lead to the first corner of the night for Creighton.
And Jake Hopp's coming over to knock out the cross, clear it away. No place to put it but behind, and as you said, first corner of the evening.
How did Creighton have such a great shot advantage the other night? Well, they had 9 corner opportunities, leading to a fair share of those shots that they had. Nice job there by Lapsley to take the ball in.
Well, just not enough traffic in front of him. He had a clear lane to come out and collect that ball. You need bodies in front of the keeper, so he's not as confident coming out to collect that near the penalty spot.
Macchione trying to challenge him just a little bit, and that was another thing that we saw on Friday night from these Blue Jays, is they were not afraid to force the Tigers to have to make smart passes for the entire field. Really came out attacking and a defensive bunch. Here's Akeem Ward backtracking, is able to chase it down before giving it to Tor Troston, and the Jays are on the attack again. More pass there, take it away.
One other thing to watch for tonight, Josh, is when the Blue Jays are pinned back.
Boateng takes that one off his shoulder, maybe his head.
As I was saying, when the Blue Jays get back on defense, as the ball comes back to him right now, Connor Ramlow, normally a midfielder, stepping in to play that center back role tonight, is Julius Fort out of the starting lineup. So a potential trouble spot for the Blue Jays at the back. We'll have to wait and see.
So far, we've seen the ball on this end of the field quite a bit. Eunice Badati going to throw it in for the Jays, and he'll get it back right now. Macchione loses it, and UC Davis just trying to clear it, unable to. Ramlow hops in front of it, a nice play.
That's a good step by Ramlow.
Quick touch there from Troston. Rydstrand. And that will lead to another corner already. A second corner, not even 4 minutes into this match.
Man, you've seen it already, Josh. Blue Jays losing the ball high up the pitch, not retreating on defense, staying right there and winning it back in the UC Davis half and restarting the attack immediately.
So Tor Troston now. We'll see if the Jays do a better job of getting some bodies in front of the net. This time a long ball. And that one goes out, and once again leads to another possession by the Blue Jays.
And that was a good battle at the far post between Kibanguchi and Hawkinson, and Kibanguchi comes out the better for it.
Here's Hawkinson. Troston chasing it down. He's got Akeem Ward. For Mucko. him and Kuba-Pola, looks to be some confusion or at least some disagreement, certainly from the fans on this side.
No, I thought Formico definitely touched it last.
You and quite a few other Blue Jays here, but a loss the referee disagrees with you and the partisan fans, and it will go over to UC Davis before Creighton quickly making a play and getting it back. Here's Bidotti. Hawkinson chasing it down with Boateng there, and it goes into the hands of Wallace Lapsley.
Well, so far the strategy for UC Davis has not been to try to possess. They're just trying to ping long balls ahead and beat this press of Creighton, and they haven't really created anything off of it just yet.
Here's Luke Hawkinson. He has Justin Wright on him. Ball there, but no Blue Jays around, and so it kind of bounces around just a bit. That looked like it could have been a rough situation for Emmanuel Doherty and Mitch LeGros. It looked like their heads were almost going to bang into each other. But everyone's okay. Oof.
Might have just gotten a little clash of heads there as Doherty goes to ground.
Adam Mickelson was going to toss it in, but instead he tosses it aside, so Justin Wright will come over.
Justin Wright's an interesting one for UC Davis. In his freshman and sophomore seasons, he played 40 of 41 matches, but just 12 of the 20 a year ago. Seen him back in the lineup here tonight.
He did finish up last season, starting the final 8. And as you said, starting this one against the Blue Jays, a nice battle between him and Mitch LeGros down there. And it will go over to Paul Cruz and the Creighton Blue Jays. Cruz making his first start of the season on Friday against Clemson. And as we've talked about multiple times, really did not have to see too many shots, only 4. Or excuse me, only 5 for the Tigers. Lapsley chasing it down.
Just a little bit of extra blood in the legs so far from Creighton on those long balls. You've seen him hit those into the corners just a bit out in front. You settle in a little bit, take something off that, let the player fight for it when he's running on. Just got to give him a chance.
Yeah, what would you say, John, after playing on Friday? I mean, the first match of the season, so you know you're going to have a lot of excitement, a lot of energy for both sides, and then to have such a quick turnaround. And the weather in Omaha this weekend has been very warm, very muggy.
Yeah, it's. I mean, these are obviously well-conditioned athletes on both sides. They're Division I collegiate soccer players, so you shouldn't think that it's too much out of the norm for them. They're practicing every day on back-to-back days,
having some two-a-days,
and things of that nature. But game speed is a little different, and sometimes it can take a little bit to settle into the rhythm of the season, and especially as I mentioned in our open. For UC Davis, who's used to playing, it's 5:30 back home right now, so a little bit of a time change for them, and that would be my only concern is a combination of a short turnaround and then your sleep patterns being thrown off by the time difference. That could be. We'll have to watch as this game goes on and see just where their fitness levels are.
Keem Ward, a little disappointed in himself there for letting it go out of bounds. You see him there, number 5, the senior out of Vienna, Virginia. We see a different team when he is on the field versus when he is not on the field for the Blue Jays. Here's a quick turnover toward Troston. Has the ball, and he has a few Blue Jays in the box, and that one is sent out of bounds. A nice defensive play there, but the possession will remain with the Jays.
And that's what I was talking about with Kuba-Pola. A quick turnaround. The ball's one back, and he just restarts the attack with the ball to Troston. And a dangerous ball in that's just cleared away.
There is Polat. Quick touches right now for the Blue Jays. Yunus Budati sending it in with the right foot. Was trying to get it to Anthony Macchione, and Macchione just wasn't able to get ahead on that ball. Hawkinson chasing it down, but Wallace Lapsley will clean it up. Just about 10 minutes into this match.
far, Davis has been very solid at the back, kind of what we expected them to be. One of the anchors of this team playing on that back line. But the Blue Jays have not been without some chances. They've had some opportunities and just haven't found that final ball.
Here's Akeem Ward. A nice ball and a really good play there from Wallace Lapsley. Akeem Ward, John, he led to Creighton's both goals on Friday with some excellent touches, including a phenomenal pass that set up the second goal of the evening. Was trying to do so there, but a nice play there by Wallace Lapsley.
Well, you just watch him. He's a tremendous athlete. He gets down the wing so well from his left back position and then delivers in quality balls like that. Definitely a player you want on your side.
Toward Troston with the Blue Jays there. Behringer bouncing off of him. Kind of messed up that pass just a little bit, but it stays with the Jays for the time being. Joel Riedstrand. Oh, that was a great idea from Kuba Polat. He had Luke Hawkinson, and that ball bounces off of Hawkinson's body and goes behind the stands, but a really good idea on that pass, just unable to get it to him.
Yeah, it was a great run from Hawkinson. You're going to see it. Polat just finds himself in a little bit of space, tries to play it through. Hawkinson making the run through. But a good pickup on that back end.
Great job by Justin right there to knock it down. But you see the extra effort that Hawkinson put on Wallace Lapsley, the keeper for UC Davis. Expect that type of energy and pressure throughout this evening from the Blue Jays.
And just as we were talking that, maybe it wouldn't, the weather was a little bit different than it was on Friday. It feels like the humidity has just jumped up a few percentage points here in the last 5 minutes.
UC Davis, there's their head coach, Dwayne Schaefer. 22nd year as the coach of the Aggies. He's had quite a bit of success there, as you see a two-time Big West Coach of the Year. Won the North Division last year in the Big West. Putting some pressure right now on the Blue Jays. But you mentioned it just a few moments ago, John, that it seems to be a little muggier today, a little more humid today. There was a lot of moisture throughout the morning and into the afternoon here in Omaha. There's a lot of cloud cover right now here at Morrison Stadium. We're in downtown Omaha.
We're such typical Midwesterners right now, just talking about the weather.
Yeah. Here's Adam Mickelson, the first corner opportunity for the Aggies, and a nice play by Riedstrand to clear that one out. Mickelson gets it back. Troston knocking it out of bounds. Get some claps from the fans.
These are going to be the key spots, I think, for the Blue Jay defense. When you get these restarts, when they're pinned back, these are going to be the places where UC Davis is going to have the best opportunity to create chances.
It looks like they might have one there, but Boateng didn't see the Jays that were behind him, and they were able to take it away. A couple quick touches now for Creighton.
And you see UC Davis not really interested in pressing at all.
Polat to Hawkinson. Will Hawkinson be able to chase it down? No, he will not. Let's take a look at Elmar Bolovich, the Creighton coach. 8th year here with the Blue Jays. 30 seasons overall. Got his 105th win the other night versus Clemson.
Just a tremendous career. He's got a national championship under his belt at North Carolina before he made the move out here to Omaha.
Espeleta there, a nice play. Dottie chasing it down. And I imagine that Bolovich has to be incredibly happy to have the group that he does. We talked about it in the broadcast on Friday night, and it's been written about locally here that the seniors really took command of this team all the way back as early as January. Text message conversations. They were practicing 10 days before actual camp began with themselves, having morning workouts, having afternoon hangouts to increase the camaraderie. Not pleased with missing out on the NCAA tournament last year.
Yeah, that 9-7-2 record just stuck in the craw of this program from last season. There's a lot of teams around the country that would say 9-7-2, that's pretty successful, but more is expected when you play here at Creighton University.
Yeah, it was weird to begin the season and see, all right, number 11 Clemson in town, Jays unranked. Haven't really seen that too often around here lately. Akeem Moore looking to the sideline to get some direction from the bench. Justin Wright's going to throw it in. Senior out of LA.
Come on, Jacob, up and in.
Right in
Maddie,
front
get out.
of Dwayne Schaefer. Behringer on the left wing. Just not a whole lot of Aggies down there. He slows up just a little bit to allow for some, but a nice play by LeGros. Here's Justin Wright. Mickelson was on his right, and that one goes high and wide of Paul Cruz.
Yeah, it looked like Cruz had just drifted a little bit off his line, and Justin Wright trying to test him with one there. Just didn't quite get it on frame, but it was a good idea, because if he puts that thing to the corner, Cruz is going to have a tough time getting to it.
Jays attacking again. Polot was running right down the middle. You can see him there at the bottom of the screen, was disappointed, slapping his thighs. He thought he had an opportunity there to put one by Wallace Lapsley.
Yeah, and then Espeleta tried to play Hawkinson through, but Hawkinson pulled up, knew he was offside, so not the best decision that Espeleta could have made in that situation. Had other options available that were onside.
Brian Quintero. Mickelson trying to get behind Ward. Ward heads that to Paul Cruz.
Well read by Akeem Ward. Mickelson looked like he had position, and Ward just dashes back and gets ahead to it.
Hawkinson. Macchione right now in the middle. And Troston on the left wing. Here's Hawkinson. A nice move, left foot, and that one goes by Wallace Lapsley, but it also goes by the goal.
Well done by Luke Hawkinson right there. Cuts it back to his left foot and just tries to curler to the far post. Take a look right here. Nice cut back, good left-footed strike. Just didn't get quite around it to curl it into that far post.
Great footwork there from Hawkinson. Second shot of the evening for the Blue Jays. Here's Akeem Ward battling it out with Marty Formucco. Let's get it back after a penalty. Akeem Ward and Adam Mickelson. We're really seeing some fun battles out of them in the last few minutes.
Yeah, just a little tug from behind there. Perhaps some frustration as Mickelson lost out on a couple of battles, as you said, with Ward in the last couple of minutes.
Ramlow, that ball went by Behringer and to the Blue Jays. There is Behringer. He's battling it out with Yunus Budati. Just about 20 minutes into this match. Pretty even so far. I would say, John, that Creighton's definitely had more of the possession, but they haven't had too many opportunities to make Wallace Lapsley work too hard in the net.
Yeah, you can think of the cross by Akeem Ward and the little cutback left-footed shot from Hawkinson a moment ago are the two best ones. Have had a couple of corners and not done anything with those. On the other side for UC Davis, they've just got to create something. They have, outside of the speculative attempt from Justin Wright, really not even made an attempt on goal.
Lapsley kicked that one right to Troston, and he Just wasn't able to get a left foot on it, and it went by him. And so the Aggies will have it for now. Hopped. And a quick touch there that went right to the Blue Jays. Oh, man. Anthony Macchione, he was separating himself, and I think he might have been onside if that ball would have been able to get by the Aggies. Here's Mickelson, and Ward takes his lunch again. Knew that Doherty was chasing him down, and he almost lost it there, and the Aggies get it. Mickelson chasing it down. A nice step back from him to remain onside and to get the ball. A couple players go crashing into each other. Ridestrand and Doherty from the Aggies.
Doherty's a freshman up there, and just looking up and down this roster, you see so many players with that R in front of their year, red shirt. You don't get a lot of freshmen that play at UC Davis, so Doherty's one of those rare cases for this program where he's getting to play in his first year on campus.
John, you and I were just talking a moment ago about the weather in this one. Let's go down to the field and welcome back into the broadcast Emma Brosh. Emma, talk about those effects that the humidity can have on the players like this, especially only a couple days after their first match of the season.
Yeah, so I'm looking right now. It's about 82 degrees with 77% humidity. So looks like these guys, like Jersey, they're sticking to their skin pretty well here. A lot of sweat coming off, and it can have a pretty major effect when it's like starts to get harder to breathe when the humidity gets up there. So hopefully they can keep trucking along here. Mostly been offensive this half on UC Davis's defensive half. So hopefully they can keep that up and not let the humidity get to them too much.
All right, Emma, thank you very much. And yeah, that was something that we saw in the broadcast on Friday in terms of the way that the jerseys were sticking to them, and you can already see it right now. Here's Troston with another corner chance for the Blue Jays. Sends it in, and that one is headed out of bounds.
And while Emma was having her report down on the field, Matt Behringer came over to the sideline getting some instructions from Dwayne Schaefer during that corner kick. So perhaps a little tactical change up front is being communicated there to the left winger.
Wallace Lapsley, the junior, big-time keeper last year, already one shutout on his sheet this season, was top 5 in quite a few of those statistical categories in the Big West in 2017. Mitch LeGros, number 3 right there at the top of your screen. He was just yelling movement, movement to his teammates. Troston to the left wing, and Hawkinson, who surveys what he has in front of him. We saw him with the left earlier. Here's another left foot. It goes by Lapsley, and it goes by quite a few other players. Boy, John, if there was a Blue Jay over there, they would be up by a goal.
Yeah, and credit to Jacob Rudolph for getting just ahead on that, because I think it was Espeleta running onto the far post all alone, and if Rudolph doesn't get ahead on it, pretty sure that gets buried.
Both of these teams about to make some substitutions. There are currently 3 Blue Jays ready to go in, and 1 player from the Aggie side. Keem Ward battling it out once again with Justin Wright. He'll get called there.
There is Sven Koenig, Ziad Fares, and Udai Tashiro on the stick for Creighton. Meanwhile, Robert Mejia ready to sub in for UC Davis. So a big change coming for the blue and white.
Yeah, we saw Ferris come onto the field late in the first half, scored a goal in the 37th minute on Friday to give the Jays their first lead of that one. Here's Mickelson. Cleared by LeGros. And a header and a right foot by Jake Hopton. That one goes out of bounds. He's looking over at the ref. His teammates are looking over at the ref. And they don't get the answer, John, that I think they wanted, and Paul Cruz now has the ball.
Well, that was a dangerous opportunity for UC Davis right there. 3 white shirts to only 1 blue one. And somehow the ball stays out of the back of the net. Take a look, great ball in. And Mitch LeGros was in a bad spot. He had 3 men to try and cover. Somehow it stays out.
Max Glasser, the freshman out of California, he also enters this one. For UC Davis, Emmanuel Doherty, he exits. And it was this moment on Friday that the Jays really took advantage. They brought in some fresh faces. And I think after about a half hour of play, there were a lot of tired bodies on the field, but they brought in more at that time than Clemson did, and it paid dividends. They bring in 2 more players than UC Davis does on this substitution. Let's see what happens. Jays quickly down the field. And that one bounces out of bounds. And it will go to the UC Davis side.
That's Ferris trying to get on the end of one. Quickly into the action after subbing on. You said, Josh, Creighton has dominated the attacking portion of this match, and just the only trouble has been finding that final pass. They've had plenty of opportunities 25, 30 yards from goal to set up and make a play, and haven't found one yet.
Udai Tashiro, he just entered this match for the first time. He's trying to put a right foot on it, but good defense by a couple of UC Davis players there. Polot chasing it down. There's Tashiro again, number 29. He just entered.
And you can see the press is on now with those fresh legs in there up front. Blue Jays really attacking that back line, trying to force that high turnover.
Big time in the match here. 28.5 minutes into the first half. And the fresh legs certainly have shown themselves over the last couple of minutes. Will it lead to a goal for either squad? There is Udai Tashiro, the junior out of Tokyo. He was at Tyler Junior College before he became a Blue Jay. Nice play there by Wallace Lapsley. He had 3 Blue Jays in front of him, and he cleans that one up.
Ball pushed deep down into the wing and across that just can't find anyone in blue.
Mickelson, there was just nobody there. He kind of waves his arm around. He was looking for Matt Behringer. He wasn't there. And Paul Cruz was able to get it.
They specialize in full range apparel, promotional products.
There you see Max Glasser, the freshman, has just come on to this one. And researching this team and reading about Max Glasser, wondered why he wasn't running track in college. He's a California state champion in the 400. And his list of accolades for soccer were not as long as his ones on the track.
Interesting too, 400 versus, soccer. You'd figure somebody who has success in this sport would be a distance runner as well. To have both of those abilities to run the 400. but also to be able to run as many miles as you do. And if you're a starter, heck, even if you're coming off the bench, how many steps you're getting in, how many miles you're going to run.
I don't know what it is at the college level, but I think in the Premier League, the average midfielder covers about 4 to 6 miles a game.
If you were in the pros, would you wear a Fitbit? I always have wondered that.
You know, a lot of them have those trackers that are put in the back of the uniform, right up at the base of the neck under the collar, and the statistics department and that track the movements and heart rate and all that of their players to measure their fitness and their work rate and those sort of things.
But then the team gets it. You don't get the steps counted. I mean, if I forget my Fitbit for a morning, I'm like, oh no, how many steps did I miss out on? Not that I needed the steps, I just needed them to show up on the app. That's all I care about, really.
Right.
It's just the app steps.
The reward.
Yes, exactly.
The little buzz when it says, hey, you met your goal today.
It was actually the walk over here that I got the buzz. Hey, 10,000 steps. Thank you very much, Fitbit.
We will accept the smallest rewards as human beings, won't we?
Yeah, I certainly will. Here's Wallace Lapsley leaving the box, puts a left foot on it. Under 13 and a half now left in the first half. I would say, John, I don't know about you, speaking of steps, I think that the short turnaround has shown itself throughout this matchup this evening. We've seen some opportunities from the Jays, but really a lot of it's been played right here in the midfield.
And neither team really that dynamic looking in the first half.
Here's Koenig. He has Toshiro next to him. And that ball goes wide, off the post.
Yeah, it hit the stanchion that holds up the net behind the goal, but I thought Lapsley was a bit lackadaisical because this came close in the end. Check the first time shot from Ridestrand, and it wasn't that far off, and Lapsley
he was just kind of standing there.
Was not really interested.
Interesting moments here with 12 and a half to go. Toshiro lets that one go over his head. Akeem Ward back there. Glasser, we were just speaking about him, chases it down, kicks it out of bounds, and so it will go over to the Blue Jays side.
Not only is Max Glasser a state champion in the 400 in California, he's a maniac because he's wearing long sleeves.
Oh.
He does have them pushed up to the elbow, but I wouldn't want to wear a second shirt out there tonight.
Yeah, we went down to the pitch moments ago talking to our Emma Brosh, and she was mentioning the effects that it can have, and here's a tricky situation, and Cruz is able to take it in. But yeah, this is not one of those nights where that would be very comfortable. But he is also the Division I soccer player, and you and I are just talking about
there
it.
There we go. Meanwhile, Toshiro for Creighton, you see him right there. He's also wearing the long sleeves.
Here's a chance for UC Davis. Cruz off of the top bar. They're going to get another chance. Cruz dives on the ground. Mickelson is right there as well. And finally, Cruz covers it up. Wow, what a sequence.
You know what this is, Josh? We talked about Connor Ramlow playing in the back. He's normally a midfielder. He got his feet tangled on that through ball. Watch it at the start. Right there, you see? He has to turn, and it's too late. And then the shot off the crossbar, the chipped effort. And what a break from a Blue Jay perspective.
If that is a foot down, that is the first goal of this one. And then you see Mickelson getting dirty, getting on the ground. And by the way, while we were showing that replay, number 17, Jacob Rudolph, the sophomore out of Clovis, California, he's been down the entire time that we were talking about that play. As you see the trainer coming over to talk to him.
Yeah, and he's holding the hamstring area, and he sent that chipped effort in that hit the crossbar. I'm not exactly sure and see what happened on the play, but I do think after watching the replay, Mickelson has an argument for being fouled inside the box after he collected that rebound.
It was interesting, John, because it kind of looked like you're watching a basketball game and both guys are diving for a loose ball, but obviously Mickelson couldn't just like pick it up. Substitution. Yeah. Oh, excuse me, John.
He was tripped in the box. I feel fairly confident in saying that after seeing the replay, and just happened to fall on top of the ball, which in the scramble ensued with Cruz trying to dive in there and pluck the ball from underneath him.
Velasquez is going to enter this match for the first time. Marty Formucco will leave. Andy Velasquez, a redshirt freshman, saw the first 28 minutes on the pitch of his career on Friday in the win over the Omaha Mavericks. .10:39 remaining. Paul Cruz waiting for the signal, and this one will resume.
In the game for UC Davis, for number 17, Jacob Rudolph, will be number 3, Sean Cooper.
Chasing it down. Now he's on the left wing. He had been on the right wing. And excuse me, here now comes Velasquez for Mucko. Sean Cooper, number 3. He's throwing this one in. He also has been substituted over the last 30 seconds. So after really not having, John, a ton of possessions, UC Davis, on this side at least, UC Davis with another chance. That one headed out by LeGros. A couple Blue Jays running into each other. Ferris and Espeleta.
Well, UC Davis has certainly come the closest to putting a marker on the board here. For the most part, they have not had the better of play.
And that's really what happened in their victory on Friday versus the Mavs. They were outshot. They only got 4 shots versus 12 that the Mavericks had, but they were able to leave with the victory with a goal in the second half.
But a team like UC Davis is one of the most frustrating teams to play against. They're a scrappy defensive unit. They're not going to give you much, and then they're going to be efficient with their attacks. They're going to put, not too many shots on goal, but 1 or 2 of those is going to go in, and then they're not going to give you anything back on the other end. They're just so frustrating to play against because you don't feel like you're playing against a more talented team or a better structured team, but they're just so organized.
Yeah, how many times do you think you play a team like this, you leave the match, you say, well, we play better than them, and then you look at the scoreboard and your team lost.
Yeah, very frustrating style of play.
Toshiro to Ward. Quick touch, gets it back to Toshiro. Nice play from him to Sven Koenig. Gets into the box. Good defense there from Boateng. We talked about him in the pregame. And a nice play there, and he sends that one out of bounds. Defensive Player of the Year in the Big West a season ago. Was an All Big West First Team Player a year ago. And obviously this will not surprise anyone. Preseason All Conference this year, and you see he is the captain. Here's Koenig. Ridestrand looking for Koenig. He has Toshiro in front of him. Now a few extra Blue Jays in front of him. Whole lot. Gotti. Ridestrand. And a nice defensive play by UC Davis to step in front of Udai Toshiro.
Within the last 10 minutes, Josh, Davis has been, they've looked more confident on the ball. They've settled into the match nicely, and they've obviously created a few opportunities. I think they've settled in and recognized the style of play that Creighton is employing, and they've made some nice adjustments to it. And now we have a match on our hands. It looked like Creighton was out to dominate from the outset once again, just as they did on Friday night, but Davis has changed the fortunes.
Mickelson there, and then a shot by Glasser. They wanted a handball, the Aggies did.
I think Glasser's saying that Cruz touched it on its way through.
Let's take a look at the replay. So right here, I think they wanted a handball. Then Glasser sends it right. And UC Davis doesn't get anything that they wanted on that possession. So the Jays avoid another opportunity for the Aggies to score. That one sent out of bounds by Adam Mickelson. We've said his name a ton over the last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, and again, he was second team all-conference a year ago and led the team in scoring with 15 points last season. So he's certainly the offensive leader, and he's shown up again here tonight.
Great job by Quintero to take that ball away from the Blue Jays. Right. After a very aggressive start to this one from the Jays, John, I agree with your assessment just a couple minutes ago. UC Davis looks to be the aggressor right now.
Yeah, they've grown in confidence, and they're venturing further forward, coming up out of that, I don't want to say defensive shell, but playing more possession and less of the direct one long ball and hope that they started the game with.
Nice ball from Boateng to right, almost an own goal for the Blue Jays, and a nice job there by Paul Cruz to get on the ground and clean that one up. Tells his guys to calm down a little bit, and now he'll hold on to it. Let's take a look at that replay.
Yeah, this is a nice play, getting around the corner for Justin Wright, and then a dangerous ball in, and that ball could go anywhere. Cruz is lucky to come up with it.
Yeah, Ziad Ferris almost put that one in the net for UC Davis. And now 3:49 to go in the first half. Here's Ward on the left wing. Nice move there by Ward. I think he was trying to shoot that ball, but it went off his foot. Jays will keep it for now. Nice ball from Rydstrand to Budati. Budati chasing it down. Headed out by Hopt. Tashiro able to chase it down. Nice tackle to Ward. A really good touch to Sven Koenig. Koenig between the legs of Roy Boateng, and Wallace Lapsley gets on the ground and cleans it up.
That's a good touch inside from Koenig, but he didn't find quite the room he was hoping for. So went 5-hole on Boateng, but Lapsley down quickly to collect it. Best scoring opportunity of the last 15 minutes for Creighton.
No goal so far through almost 43 minutes of play, but the last few have been very tense. Some tired legs out there for these squads on a warm night here at Morrison Stadium. Rydstrand. A couple touches that him and Ferris are sharing. Jay's just kind of playing keep away right now. Espeleta chasing it down. Boateng on him.
It's a good effort out there by Espeleta, but Boateng with the big body and the strong challenge wins it back and forces Creighton to retreat.
LeGros kicking it to Cruz with Mickelson on his heels. Mickelson really making the Jays work as of late. Coming up on 1 minute to go in the first half. Ward wanted that ball, I think, from Koenig, but he just was unable to get free. And an offside called there on Ferris.
Yeah, Ferris started that run, and I don't think Koenig pulled the trigger as quickly as Ferris was expecting him to. Just the timing was a little bit off. It's a good run from Ferris. Just got to be a little quicker off the foot for Koenig.
Half a minute to go. Lapsley taking his time. Pretty even match so far. 7 shots for the Jays, 4 for the Aggies. And it looks like that's where this thing will stay. Behringer and Cruz able to clean it up, and that will end the first half scoreless. But a really exciting one over the last few minutes as both of these teams put a ton of pressure on each other. And so this one all knotted up at 0-0. And let's go down onto the pitch. Emma Brosh is standing by right now with Elmar Bulovic. Emma?
Hi, Coach. Thanks for being with us. So going into the half, still tied at 0. Any big adjustments you plan to make for the second half?
Well, I think we need to make every adjustment possible because ideally it's 0-0 for us, and we are really lucky it's 0-0. Actually, it should be 3-0 for UC Davis. They were the better team in the first half and had the great chances to score goals.
So anything specific that you tell the guys at halftime?
Well, we need to turn up our attack. There's hardly any movement up front, so we're always stalling out in the midfield, and we really don't get open looks on the goal. No energy in the front line, so we need to find it somehow, and we need to address it.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you very much, Emma. Not very pleased is Coach Bulovic with the first half. Coming up, we'll have a feature on the new dental school here at Creighton. Also, highlights and more throughout halftime. 0-0, the tie at the break between Creighton and UC Davis. More to come next here on Jay's Video. Great view there of Omaha, Nebraska. Josh Peterson and John Schreiner. 0-0 at the break. Let's go down to the pitch right now. Dwayne Schaefer is standing by with Emma Brosh. Emma?
Thanks, Dwayne. Thanks for being with us. So going to the half scoreless, anything specific that you look to see from your team the second half?
Well, I'd like to see us score a goal, obviously. I thought we played well in the first half for being on the road. You know, we had a nice result on Friday out there against Omaha. So for us to be tied 0s at halftime, I think is a great result for us at this point. Looked like my guys had to find their rhythm a little bit, but then I think the last 20 minutes of the first half, I thought we had the better chances to score the goal. And hopefully we'll come back with the wind at our back here a little bit. I think we'll hopefully give a great effort, and I look forward to us scoring a goal, making it tough on them.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. That is Dwayne Schaefer. Certainly can understand, John, the difference in spirits between Schaefer and Bulovic, who Emma had a chance to talk to before we went into the half.
Well, you certainly can, and I think that the comments from Dwayne Schaefer make me look incredibly smart because he said just about exactly what I said going into the halftime break. So thank you very much, Coach Schaefer.
Point UC Davis, point John Schreiner. Nothing, though, on the scoreboard. It's interesting that you brought it up before we took our final break of the half. No official shots on goal. Bulovic mentions that they could have a 3-goal advantage right now, and I agree with him. We watched the highlights. Sure. Heck, there might have been a 4th opportunity in there, and yet, right now, no official shots on goal, no saves yet for Paul Cruz, and the score is 0-0.
There are some changes out there for the Blue Jays here to start the second half as Akeem Ward picks it up in the corner.
Nice move by Ward, getting by 3 men so far. To Toshiro with the right foot, and that goes right into Lapsley's lap.
It's good contact from Toshiro, but it's right down the middle. Lapsley's a solid keeper. You're going to have to put it to the corner to beat him. And that one's just right into the breadbasket.
Toshiro scored 12 goals in the previous 2 seasons combined at Tyler Junior College. Program that won back-to-back national championships. Still looking, though, for that first goal at this level.
As mentioned, Connor Ramlow no longer playing that center back spot. Bryce Gibson in there.
And another opportunity that goes high of Paul Cruz off the right foot of Nabi Kibanguchi.
And Kibanguchi just picks up the loose ball and has a pop at goal. Why not?
Game and a half now into their new season, and it's interesting, John, what Paul Cruz, the keeper of the Jays, has and hasn't seen to this point in the season. You know, I mean, there's been some weird, funky stuff that he has seen tonight, but yet not really a whole lot of opportunities for him to show us his chops in terms of making saves.
No, they've just been kind of gritty, get down, get dirty kind of opportunities for Davis, and that's what he's had to deal with.
Espeleta, there's one of the weird ones, and that one off the left foot of Adam Mickelson, and it goes high.
Mickelson's going to want that one back. He's pretty much alone at the top of the box after the failed punch attempt, and takes a swing at that one, and way underneath it was Mickelson. He'll watch that on replay and think that he should have tallied right there.
Yeah, it went off the body of Marty Formucco, and Paul Cruz was unable to get anything on it, and then Mickelson with that chance. And as you said, I mean, you could see the disappointment from Mickelson right away that he was unable to at least make Cruz work for it.
So far, Josh, you're through just the first 4 minutes of this second half. The game has picked up right where it left off, with UC Davis on the front foot, Creighton scrambling to try to find some rhythm.
Behringer, Budati defending him. And a nice touch in there to Mickelson, and Cruz gets high and saves it.
It's good aggressive goalkeeping from Cruz, coming out off his line with the high ball served in. Goes up over top, wins it over Mickelson.
That's one of those things that I'm always curious to see in a young keeper. When to know to be aggressive, and not so much to be apprehensive, but when to wait for the ball to get to you versus when to go out and attack it like that. There's actually a play he had on Friday, did Paul Cruz, where, nice job there by Sean Cooper, where he was aggressive and it almost cost him. No goal was scored by Clemson, but that play right there, good aggressive play from Cruz to keep it away from the Aggies. Sean Cooper came off the bench in the first half for 11 minutes. Starts this one for the Aggies. Nice job by Toshiro to put a head on that. Over 5 minutes in on the second half. John, I think you're spot on with your assessment a few moments ago. This one's picked up where it left off in the first half. Here's Espeleta trying to change that fortune. Budati on the right wing with the right foot on it. Hopped, trying to keep it in, and he is unable to. And this will lead to a corner opportunity. The Jays had a couple early before one late in the first half, and here's their first of the second half.
Well, that was just a good job by Budati. That ball was perfectly served in. The hop there to knock it away.
It'll be Joel Rydstrand. Mixed bag in the corners in the first half. Will the Jays really make them work? It's Bryce Gibson putting the head on it. First time we've seen him tonight.
Yeah, I didn't think Connor Ramlow looked too confident in the back to start this game, and we said that he was playing a little bit out of position, normally a midfielder, getting a start at center back with Julius 4 out tonight. And we didn't know if we were going to see Julius, and I would assume now with Bryce Gibson in there that Julius is not going to play in this one tonight. Or else we certainly would have seen Julius 4 come in and play.
Gibson didn't play at all on Friday night after appearing in all 18 matches that the Jays saw in 2017. He had 11 starts a year ago. Was a big part of that back line that had 7 shutouts across their 2017 schedule. Already won this year, and right now putting together over a half of one. The Aggies trying for their second of the year as well. Here's Hawkinson chasing it down. That's kicked out of bounds by Hopt. Not a corner, but the Jays still will have it in this final third.
Best run of possession here so far in the second half for Creighton, putting a little bit of pressure on this back line. And even though we've talked about Josh, Davis has had the better of chances. It does feel at times like that defense is just hanging by a thread. They're one missed touch away from Creighton putting the ball in the back of the net.
Just luckily for them, they haven't seen a ton of those because they've had some really good aggressive defense of their own. Here's Quintero. Here's Adam Mickelson. He's been a very aggressive player. At the end of the half into this one, Behringer on the left wing. And a nice job there by Mitch LeGros to head that one out.
Yeah, Mitch LeGros. Nice strong challenge in the air, and Bryce Gibson with that 6'5" frame. You're going to have a tough time going up against those two in the middle.
There is Bryce Gibson. Junior out of Lee Summit, Missouri. Sven Koenig chasing it down with Jake Hopt. Marty Formucco, good job there. And Gibson just has to kick it out. And so now Mickelson will throw it in. Mickelson gets it back quick with the right foot, and a nice aggressive play once again from Paul Cruz. He lost it for just a moment, but was able to corral it.
Well played in the air again from Cruz. There's a nice ball served in from Mickelson, just curling in, and Cruz well off his line to come out and collect it.
Cruz now with Behringer chasing him down. He has to kick it out of bounds. While we were showing you that replay, Bryce Gibson tried to pass it to him just to be able to put it together, and kind of went a little wide.
There was a foul called back there as Cruz got the pass away.
And Gibson with a soft touch to Cruz. But a bad kick there, so Matt Behringer. And a really nice tackle by Yunus Badati. And a foul call there. Ref slowing things down just for a moment.
This is actually a good foul by Sean Cooper, because if he doesn't pull back Espeleta, he's down the wing, and it's an odd, as they call it in hockey, an odd man rush. It would be numbers forward for Creighton, so a good professional type of foul for Cooper to pull Espeleta back and prevent that breakaway attempt.
And that's why the fans made the noise that they did. They knew the opportunity that they perhaps had in front of them with that odd man rush. Now quite a few whistles in the last few moments.
Yeah, frustrations might be just setting in a little bit with neither team able to scratch anything across the scoreboard, and both maybe expecting to have done so already.
Yeah, trying to get a feel for this match as it continues on. So often, we'll watch them and we just wait and wait and wait for someone to break through, and it never happens. This one, though, I think that it is going to happen for one of these sides.
Yeah, both have looked like scoring goals at different points throughout this match. It's not as if it's just been a stalemate, played through midfield and neither really able to build an attack. We've had opportunities on both sides. It hasn't been finished off quite yet.
Marty Formucco was called for a foul there on Rydstrand as he gets the ball back. Udai Toshiro. And that ball just a little long. Maybe some miscommunication there. It was interesting. Luke Hawkinson just kind of turned, and the ball then was suddenly going right behind him.
Yeah, I'm not sure who Toshiro was looking for there. Hawkinson and Ward were both kind of in the area. I don't know whether he was expecting Ward to run onto that ball or what was the intent there, but it just didn't work out.
Great view there of Wallace Lapsley. Tremendous job by our camera crew here all throughout the night. Mickelson with the touch to Matt Behringer. And a really nice tackle again from Yunus Budati. I said that a few times this evening.
And Budati with another good sliding attempt here. Behringer just trying the speed move, step over and push forward. Budati having none of it.
Good job by Bryce Gibson to clear that one for the time being. And that ball just a little too long for Sven Koenig.
The ball was just a clearance, Josh. I think Koenig just misjudged it in the air. He overran it and then had to turn around and try to regain possession, and he just misjudged the run.
Coming upon 30 minutes left. Josh Peterson, John Schreiner, Emma Brosh down on the pitch. Interviewed both coaches at the half here in downtown Omaha, Nebraska. A couple teams getting off to 1-0 starts on Friday night, trying to move to 2-0 on this one. And another poor pass there, or perhaps miscommunication. Daniel Espeleta was looking for Yunus Budati.
And that's not going to make one Elmer Bulovic any more happy.
On the south end right now, you see there is Elmar Bulovic, but on the south end of the pitch we see rather, some Blue Jays warming up. You wonder how much of it's just going to be get some new players in and try something else. Substitution made, Sean Cooper back on for UC Davis. Here's Mickelson getting by 4 or 5 Blue Jays before he finally loses it. Espeleta. And that clearance once again just too long.
Yeah, it's another bad ball from Espeleta. He misread the run by Koenig. Koenig was checking back to the ball, and Espeleta played it through. Just got to have better vision up there when you're trying to link up with that forward.
Nice touch. Robert Mejia chasing it down for UC Davis. Akeem Ward going right around him. And a UC Davis player down right now. That's Jacob Rudolph.
We saw him go down in the first half and tried to make a go of it again here in the second, and it certainly looks like his night may be done.
Yeah. His trainer is chasing him down right now. He's almost there. And there is Rudolph, a close-up of him with the trainer coming over. Would you say, John, going back to the last couple of possessions and balls that we have seen for the Blue Jays, missing on them, is that, you think, the fatigue of the first couple of matches, the weather tonight, or is it just poor play, poor passes?
Well, I think the couple that we've seen from Espeleta, those are more mental errors than they are physical. He's not mishit the ball. He's not, spraying it wide. He's just not read the run appropriately and played the right ball. He's played the wrong ball. That's a mental error. It's not a physical mistake. It's not due to fatigue. He's not in the game as well as he needs to be right now.
Andy Velasquez coming on for Rudolph.
But I suppose you could argue that, the physical fatigue plays on the mental aspect of the game as much as anything.
Nice ball there from Mickelson to Mejia. Just a little long. And a couple substitutions for the Blue Jays. Kuba Polot, Ziad Ferris. They will enter Sven Koenig, Daniel Espeleta, who we spent a few minutes talking about.
Yeah, and I thought that might be coming. He didn't have a great start to this second half.
We've seen quite a few substitutions to start this half. Here's Ferris. Nice couple of touches for the Blue Jays. Here's an opportunity and a great job by Lapsley to get down and save that one.
Wow. What a great first-time pass from Joel Rydstrand to send Tor Trostin through. Look at that ball. Just beautiful. And Trostin just can't put it past Lapsley.
We have seen some aggressive keeping tonight, John, from both sides. We've talked about it more with Paul Cruz, but Wallace Lapsley really aggressive there, and now he's trying to slow things down just a tad.
Yeah, I think he might have got a little bit of a touch from Trostin on the way through, so taking his time before he gets back up.
All smiles, though, so I think he's okay. And so the clock stops there at 26 and a half to go. And Lapsley puts it back in play. After a bunch of scoring opportunities, close to 5 now for UC Davis, the Jays really had a chance there. Here's Akeem Ward trying to make another opportunity happen for the Jays. Will this lead to the first goal of the evening? Nice moves from Akeem Ward into the box. And a great play there from Roy Boateng. Great defense. You can see why he was the 2017 Conference Defensive Player of the Year there.
Yeah, this is a great move by Akeem Ward to get to the end line, looking for the cutback. Boateng right there to deny it. That is
perfect defending.
How about Boateng putting his hands behind his back there, making sure nothing is going to happen. And that one headed out of bounds by Ziad Ferris.
Ferris asking for the corner. Our official, Andy Ellsworth, having none of it. It's going to be interesting now. Creighton has made a push over the last 10 minutes, and they've created a couple of half chances. But does the frustration begin to set in with the ball not crossing the line just yet? Does, you know, get frustrated, mental lapse here or there. Does that create an opportunity for UC Davis?
Yeah, the chess match of how to respond to what's happened to you so far has been really interesting in this one, because when UC Davis started getting those opportunities in the first half, it came in bunches. It all was right after each other, and now we've suddenly seen a couple of quick ones for the Blue Jays.
Two-handed shove in the back from Ridestrand. And Andy Ellsworth wants a chat. But it is, the psychology of this game is perhaps the most fascinating portion of it so far. I haven't seen a ton of dynamic play, but you dig into the mentality, the psychology, the fatigue factor.
Fans not happy with that call there. A foul called, but missed opportunity for the Blue Jays.
And
you see Gibson gets pushed to the ground.
Creighton looking for the advantage call there as Ridestrand was away down the wing. That's what he's upset about. Referee doesn't have to make the call if the team that was fouled has an advantage.
Here's Budati down the right wing. He has a bunch of Blue Jays in the center. And just a couple of guys get tripped up toward Trostin. He ran into Kuba Polot. Here's DeShiro, and now he loses the ball. And boy, will the Blue Jays be disappointed that they didn't even get a shot off there, John.
3 blue shirts to 2 white. Ball at the foot of a Blue Jay attacker, and nothing comes of it.
You see the Creighton bench right there. Not a lot of happy faces right now. It's weird to say that might have been their best opportunity to score tonight, and they don't even get a shot off. Ferris to Hawkinson. He's got Budati behind him, and now off to his right. Here's Eunice Budati. Over halfway through the second half now. Hawkinson gets shoved out of bounds by Robert Mejia, and he just takes that away. Gibson now gets a foot on it. Ridestrand almost trips over the ball. Nice touch to Hawkinson. And Jake Hopt just knocked Ridestrand straight to the ground.
And Ridestrand asked the official for a foul, but you see Hopt gets the ball first.
And that one taken in by Wallace Lapsley. Eunice Budati sent it into the box, and no one really around to make a play on it.
Yeah, in that play, Hopt gets the ball first, so he has a right to it, and it's Ridestrand's responsibility to get out of the way or make a play on the ball, and he ran into Hopt, so it's not a foul.
Now a quick attack from the Aggies.
Holy shit, all the way into the box.
We have spent a lot of time talking about the Blue Jays offense over the last 5 minutes or so. And this is one of those psychological chess matches. How is now UC Davis going to respond to it?
And they're going to respond with a couple of substitutions. Going to see Behringer come back on. Kyle Marcotte for the first time.
Marcotte, a redshirt freshman out of Austin, Texas. Andy Velasquez, Robert Mejia, they will head to the bench. Gibson with the right foot to Ridestrand. Nice job there by Ferris to just kind of take it away. Hawkinson now to the center. Hawkinson with Boateng in front of him. A great spin move. Hawkinson with the right foot and knocked out of bounds by Wallace Lapsley. Great job to get on the dirt and to save that one. It will lead to another corner for the Jays.
That is a top-class save from Lapsley. The Maradona spin from Hawkinson to get by Boateng. And then the big, strong hand of Wallace Lapsley keeps it out of the back of the net.
Tremendous sequence there on both sides. Here's Toshiro with the corner. And that's headed away. Cleared for the moment by Matt Beringer. Here's Yunus Budati. To Toshiro. Justin Wright headed that one. Him and Mitch LeGros battling it out right now. And we'll stay on this side. What a spin move. John, I'm still thinking about that spin move from Hawkinson.
That's a good move from Hawkinson. But a big opportunity right here. It's essentially a short corner with the foul. Ridestrand over it, need a good delivery in.
With the right foot, Gibson with the height was able to head it, but nothing doing.
Well, Hawkinson was camped out on that far post. You have to wonder, if he's not there, does this ball go in? He's drawn two defenders to him standing on that far post, and I don't know, Josh. I think maybe if he's not standing there, there's an opportunity for that ball to find its way in.
You mentioned a couple defenders, Sean Cooper, one of them. And now what's that, John? The fourth or fifth or sixth opportunity that the Jays have had in the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, certainly looked better going forward over the past few minutes, and here's an offside goal.
So we talked about it. In the first half, this is what happened. When the Jays had chances, they kind of were one after the other. Still no goals scored. When UC Davis had chances, it was the same thing. Will they respond, or will the Blue Jays continue to put pressure on? Here's Hawkinson battling it out with Sean Cooper. And UC Davis gets it back. Out of bounds there, off the body of Udai Toshiro. And Beringer shoving Ferris, and that'll give the ball back to the Blue Jays.
And Ferris has had a pretty good second half here. And that one is definitely a foul. No attempt to play the ball.
And Beringer was shaking his head, flailing his arms. He wasn't pleased with that call, but the replay shows it was a good one. 17 and change left in this one. And another good play there by Boateng. So strong on the defensive end is Roy Boateng.
He's been every bit as advertised, hasn't he?
He has. The senior's last foray with these Aggies this year, and he has done a great job. I feel comfortable in saying, without him out there, you know, with the wins above replacement, you put an average level player out in his position, I think the Jays have some goals.
Born in Accra, Ghana, Roy Boateng.
Off of Beringer, and the fans are happy to let him know that after he complained a few moments ago.
I have to tell you, Budati and Ferris down this offensive right side for Creighton have been a breath of fresh air going forward here in the second half. They've really done a nice job combining and then finding outlets up the field, finding Ridestrand and Hawkinson going down the wing.
Yeah, we saw that substitution take place within the last 10 minutes, and it definitely has seemed like a different Jays team since. The way they've attacked, the way they defended. Hawkinson with the touch to Rydstrand down the right wing. He's got players coming behind him. He waits. Hawkinson and Boateng battling it out. No call. As Hawkinson down on the ground.
Yeah, I think Hawkinson maybe wanted to sell this a little bit. There is some contact, but he goes down a little bit easily for me, trying to draw the penalty. There's nothing wrong with it. But our official disagrees and says no foul, play on.
And now, while we were showing you that replay, Wallace Lapsley went to the ground for UC Davis. The clock's still ticking. And so there you see Lapsley. Oh, and some acting there as Hawkinson chased him down.
Yeah, Lapsley tried to sell one himself. Hawkinson got one back.
I'd say Hawkinson perhaps nominated for an award with his acting job. Not so much there for Wallace Lapsley.
Yeah, he might get a Razzie.
I was gonna try to ask you, what's the bad awards again?
It's the Razzie.
Yeah. What was that movie with
Omaha native Chris Klein?
No, I wasn't thinking that one. I was thinking Ben Affleck. Didn't he hit Geely or something like that? I have no idea. I certainly never saw it. I stay away from those. Under 15 now to go. Will UC Davis put some pressure on Cruz and the rest of this Creighton defense? Speak of the devil, there is Cruz putting a right foot on it.
Some pretty rough play in the last couple of minutes. That was a big shove over on the sideline from Kevin Gucci.
Rydstrand to Polat, and a really good defensive play there from Beringer to just step in front of it. Budotti was waiting, and it never arrived. 13 and a half now to go. Here's Quintero. Gibson heads it away. Quintero again.
Two teams have been taking turns attacking seemingly throughout this match. Is it UC Davis's turn now?
Mickelson, we said his name a ton in the first half, not so much this half. He was one of those players right over there. And a couple of subs, or excuse me, just a single sub will take place. Anthony Macchione enters this one for the first time this half. He started. Luke Hawkinson exits.
Some good moments in the second half for Luke Hawkinson. Ultimately, opportunities missed.
Anthony Macchione, he scored the second goal of the season on Friday for the Jays in their 2-0 win over Clemson. Did so off the bench. It was his first goal at this level. Under 12 minutes now to go. Excuse me, his first goal with the Blue Jays, not at this level. He scored with Akron before. Here's Akeem Ward. Nice moves, but good defense in front of him. He's able to get by his man, and that one is knocked away, and so another corner opportunity coming for Creighton. Good job for a moment by Justin Wright. Here it is, staying in front of Akeem Ward. And then it was right there. And then that one knocked out by Hopt.
So quick from Akeem Ward. And a dangerous ball across that just has to be cleared out.
Daniel Espeleta re-enters this one for Troston. And bounces off a few men, and wow, Wallace Lapsley again taking that one away from the Jays.
Well, Lapsley's been good here tonight. He has denied everything that's been in front, and he's had to make a few saves now in the second half.
You see the numbers there, 5 saves, 0 officially for Paul Cruz, 15 shots total for the Blue Jays, only 6 to this point for UC Davis. And that's reminiscent of what happened on Friday. UC Davis only was able to get 4 shots off versus the Omaha Mavericks. They saw 12, and yet they're 1-0 on the season.
This is strangely reminiscent of a year ago for Creighton.
Nice move there from Ferris, but goes out.
As they outshot just about everyone they played, but struggled to find ways to put the ball over the line. Just created chance after chance after chance, and score so many of those. Tonight, 15 shots with 5 on goal and still nothing to show for it.
Connor Tipton enters this one for the first time tonight. Kyle Marcotte exits.
Just take the kick. Oh, it sucks. Jays.
There is Tipton. Getting a quick touch on it. Approaching 9 to go now. Behringer battling it out right now with Budati. And Budati wins that one. Rydstrand gets shoved to the ground by Hopt. Hopt did not like that call there.
Well, I'm not sure I liked it either, Josh. I mean, it is a push. Rydstrand has no chance at the ball.
I think if he doesn't extend his arm, I think that's what with the angle that the ref had, that is my guess on why it was called, because I agree with you. I don't think anything should have been called there, but the arm extending by Jake Hopt makes it seem like
it's bad optics.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that was just the gravity of the situation, just controlling the way that Hopt was running. Eunice Budati. Back to Bryce Gibson. And that one lost by Espeleta. Gibson goes crashing into Tipton, who just entered this match for the first time. And that's a poor touch. Here's Macchione. And Ferris just unable to get anything off, and Lapsley falls down on it.
And look who it is. Once again, back to save the day, Roy Boateng. Turns around and gives a little to the Creighton student section on his way back.
You know, you always want to get inside baseball for just a moment. You always want to choose one of the players for either team that's going to have an effect on them in the key players to the game. That might be the best one that you've ever had. In the matches that you and I have called together,
yeah,
he has shown up tonight.
Yeah, I always do my homework, but just, you know, sometimes the stars align, Josh.
Always a little luck involved. But he has been a tremendous asset for UC Davis. Macchione pulling there on Justin Wright. 7.5 to go now. See some players now hunched over on both sides.
And it's interesting when it comes to a draw, right? Like in a situation like this, a draw for Creighton is going to feel like a loss, and a draw for UC Davis is going to feel like a win.
Absolutely. To go 1-0-1 on a road trip to start for UC Davis.
And 2 time zones away from home.
And if this score holds, they'll go 1-0-1, only scoring a single goal.
And without conceding any.
A couple shutouts to start the season. But you're right. For the Jays, it would feel the opposite, especially with all the chances that they have had. Here's Boateng. doing some good defense again, this time on Akeem Ward.
See Boateng right there, big body, strongly built young fella. Some good defensive skills he's shown tonight.
6'2", 195 for the senior from Ghana. Can't sing his praises enough this evening. And you feel for the players in his conference that are going to have to deal with him all year long. Ridestrand with a head. Here's Espeleta, and he loses that one. Nice play there from Toshiro to Polot. Here's Espeleta. Good touch there to Budati. Coming up on 5.5 to go. Another nice touch. Espeleta. That one bounces off of Hopt. Gibson and Tipton jumping up, trying to get ahead on it, but it goes by both of them to Mitch LeGros.
I think Bryce Gibson's come in and really settled things down at the back for Creighton. The defensive confidence and composure has looked much better here in the second half than it did in the first. A good switch there by Elmer Bolovich to get Gibson in there.
Jay's crowd trying to get this team going. Foul there on Mucko. Daniel Espeleta. Udai Toshiro overseeing the defense. A nice touch to Ridestrand. Looking into Macchione. Here's Ferris. Left foot, and that goes too long. Under 5 now to go, and that one goes out. Espeleta unable to chase it down.
What the fuck kind of a name is Boateng anyway?
It looks like right now, Josh, the game playing out the way the first 5 or 10 minutes of the first half did, with UC Davis being pegged back, having to sit in deep, not really creating anything on the attack, and Creighton just trying to pepper balls forward and still not coming up with anything.
Nice job there from Toshiro to get it into Macchione. He just wasn't able to handle it. Gibson with the header. Here's LeGros. Under 4 now. Toshiro, much to the dismay of this crowd and the players on the field. You see Toshiro there.
It's just funny. I mean, you've got Toshiro, who's 5'5", 140 pounds, against the 6', 295-pound Roy Boateng, and Boateng's the one that ends up on the ground.
Joel Ridestrand, under 3 minutes to go now.
And a yellow card coming here as the arm got up near the face of Ridestrand.
And there is the yellow card. Take a look at the replay. And that is on Sean Cooper, the redshirt freshman out of New Zealand. He'll get the yellow card, so the clock is stopped right now at 2:51. Another set piece coming for the Jays. They've had 7 corners this evening versus only 1 for UC Davis.
Bryce Gibson, 6'5". Watch for him running to that far post.
He put a header on an earlier set piece, wasn't able to lead to a goal. To Toshiro with the left foot, and it goes just wide of the net. And just like earlier, John, Lapsley just kind of frozen there. If that ball is just a couple of feet the other way, he's watching it go by, and the Jays have a 1-0 lead.
I believe this one takes a deflection, so it's a little different situation. Yeah, just does take a touch off of Ferris, but absolutely frozen to the spot.
was Lapsley. If that's anywhere near the goal, it's going in.
2:15 to go now. Dwayne Schaefer trying for one more substitution as regulation comes to an end. Nice job there by Behringer to take it away from the Jays. UC Davis, they haven't really had an opportunity in a bit. Here's Behringer. Lipton is down there, and Cruz is able to get on the ground. Now he's trying to get it back in play very quickly with 1:45 left.
A goal either way would be an absolute backbreaker in this match.
Wow, and that one almost went out. Eunice Badati just kind of let it go right through his legs, and then Connor Tipton came over. And they battled it out for a moment. 1:20 now in regulation.
You're good. Justin, get Justin back.
UC Davis just kind of slowing things down just a bit. Ryan Quintero sends it into the box. A header goes off the post again. It went over the head of Paul Cruz and bounced off the side post and out of bounds.
Unreal. That for everything like it was headed for the back of the net. Just a little flicked on header from Formico, and my goodness, UC Davis just about pulled a rabbit out of the hat with that one.
So now a half minute to go. Perhaps sudden death overtime ahead, unless the Jays can have one final push to win this one in regulation. They're going to have an opportunity. Toshiro goes to the ground. The clock is still ticking right now. The Jays trying to get everyone lined up. They're under 10 seconds to go. Rydstrand sets it down. 5 seconds, 4. And finally, the clock is stopped.
Official stops the clock because UC Davis refusing to give the required 10 yards for the free kick. You know, in that situation, Josh, it's actually smarter just to get back.
Exactly.
He's going to be in a hurry. He doesn't have a lot of time. If you come up and stand on the ball, the ref blows the whistle and stops the clock. Now they've got all the time in the world to set this thing up. Would have been a better play to just back off and let him take it. He's going to be in a rush, and chances are he's not going to do anything with it.
That's a great observation, and now this will lead to one final chance. Yudai Toshiro, he'll do the honors. 4 seconds to go. And here things go, headed up, and that will lead to the end of regulation. And so sudden death overtime awaits. 19 shots now for the Jays versus only 7 for UC Davis, and still 0-0 at the end of regulation. Overtime is coming up next here on Jays Video. To see the full moon here at Morrison Stadium alongside John Schreiner, I am Josh Peterson. There's the score, 0-0 at the end of 90 minutes. So we go now to a sudden death overtime. Welcome back into the broadcast booth. He is John Schreiner, as I just mentioned. I am Josh Peterson. Very interesting match that we have seen so far tonight, John. Just before we get to the highlights, I've been surprised at just how many different iterations of it we have really seen.
Yeah, the momentum has shifted multiple times in this one, and neither team able to come up with anything in the offensive third. Creighton with many more chances in that second half, as you'll see on these highlights, but still nothing on the scoreboard.
And here's one of those chances that the Jays had. We have said Wallace Lapsley's name a ton, and rightfully so, with the plays that he has made.
Yeah, there's the Maradona from Hawkinson. There was a great opportunity, just didn't quite get it far enough to the right, and Gibson with the header down, touched away. And watch Akeem Ward on this. Great little turn as he comes back in, 1-2. But look at the defensive play. Another good defensive play at the back. That back line, UC Davis has been awfully stingy tonight, Josh. They just haven't given that signature opportunity, and boy, UC Davis just about pulled that one out with that late free kick that was headed onto the post.
Second time that a ball has hit the post against the Jays. Let's take a look now at the stats that we have seen so far in this one after the highlights that our great crew has delivered you thus far. Very muggy here still at Morrison Stadium. It's still a very hot night, even with the sun set well before right now. There they are, 19 shots for the Jays versus only 7 for the Aggies. One of the interesting things that you pointed out, I believe at the half, John, was how many opportunities the Jays have had on target versus the Aggies having technically none. Paul Cruz, he has saved the ball. He has picked it up, but not credited with any actual save thus far.
Yeah, and that's, from a statistical perspective, it doesn't look like a great night for Paul Cruz with no saves, but he's done some good work collecting crosses and such and denying scoring opportunities coming off his line. But hasn't been credited with the save yet, as Davis just hasn't been able to put anything on frame.
Offside there for the Jays, and so now sudden death overtime. If a goal is scored, that team wins, and this one will be over. And so we talked about it early on. A couple of teams that played on Friday. UC Davis was able to play a little earlier in the day, the late afternoon, whereas the Jays played at 7 on the dot, and that's what time this match started. Here's a new Blue Jay, Keegan Boyd, in for the first time in this overtime period, and perhaps not a surprise after what I just mentioned. Two teams playing a little over 48 hours ago and now having to turn around and go past 90 minutes.
Keegan Boyd's an interesting freshman. His high school, Stella Coombe High School, holds the records for both goals and assists in a career. And comes from good lineages. His father played at Oregon State, so might be one to watch here as this season develops. Keegan Boyd, a rising star in a Blue Jay uniform, perhaps.
Boyd getting some valuable minutes late here, and there he is battling Sean Cooper for the ball. And it goes out of bounds. And it'll stay with the Aggies. There is Boyd. Some fresh legs late in this one. And understandable why he thought that should go his way. He didn't touch it. And that one cleaned up by Paul Cruz off the right foot of Matt Behringer. And there's a save. Look at that. So all we got to do is jinx it? I will never make $1 million tomorrow. There we go. Here's an opportunity for the Jays to put this one away. And good job there by Lapsley to get on the ground. Ferris, I think he waited just a touch too long there, John, to try to put that on net.
Yeah, I think it's the wrong decision from Ferris for me. He's got two players inside, just play that across, and it might be hopeful, but it's better than the opportunity of trying to split two defenders with the keeper lurking in front.
Especially when one of those defenders, Roy Boateng, we've said his name quite a bit tonight. All Big West Defensive Player of the Year a season ago. And there he is chasing the ball down with Sven Koenig. And he will clear it. It goes out. So back to the Jays with 7 minutes now left in the first overtime period. 2 10-minute periods. If there is no goal scored, it ends in a draw. Here's Koenig. Trying to get it to Rydstrand, and Lapsley will just get on it again. Doesn't even want to give the opportunity to Rydstrand.
Lapsley picking up this season right where he left off last year, just a 132 goals against average. He's sitting on a 0.
19.
Through 2 full, plus some overtime here in 2018.
Montero.
That's silly from Polot for me. He's got the player tracking backwards. The ball's going to be played back into the defensive third for UC Davis. There's just no reason to step on it there.
Clock is stopped now at 5:57.
And Andy Ellsworth has started to take issue with the pace at which UC Davis is playing the game.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and that ball will go by Cruz. He's happy to let it go out. You mentioned it. At some point, you kind of move from wanting that victory to being okay with the draw. And obviously, you're always wanting a victory, but I think they're very content if this thing ends at this score. Another substitution made. Emmanuel Doherty re-enters. He started this one for UC Davis. But at some point, you become okay with that, and I think UC Davis has reached that point for sure. Max Glasser going to the bench. And a quick steal. Here's Doherty. Just comes onto the field, puts a left foot on it. Bryce Gibson knocks it out. About halfway through this first overtime period. Adam Mickelson's going to throw it in. That goes out off of the Blue Jays, and so a corner upcoming. And a Blue Jay is down as well. Ziad Ferris. And a trainer coming out onto the pitch. He's just going to keep running with the clock stopped at 4:34.
I don't want to check Ferris out because it looks like a head injury potentially, and yeah, he collided with his own man jumping up in there, and looks like a pretty sore one for Ferris. Probably do well to just take him off and get him evaluated.
Yeah, that was the 6'5" Bryce Gibson. Sure enough, Ferris heads towards the bench. So Daniel Espeleta, he's going to come back on. And so while this is happening, don't forget that a corner upcoming from the Aggies with 4.5 to go.
Just their second corner kick of the game.
Mickelson. And that one goes long, and so possession to Paul Cruz and the Blue Jays. Gibson to Akeem Ward. Tashiro gets it. Back to Ward. Nice quick touch, but good defense by the Aggies. Behringer. Whole lot. Fancy move. Under 4 now in the first overtime period. To Rydstrand. Rydstrand to Koenig. Sven Koenig inside the box now. Stops to Espeleta. And Espeleta back out to Budotti. Sends it in, no one in.
And not good enough from Budotti. That's got to be a better ball. What a difference 48 hours makes, huh, Josh? Go from a Creighton perspective, putting 2 past the number 11 team in the country, looking dominant, holding possession, to facing a team out of the Big West Conference. No disrespect intended, but Big West is not Clemson or the Big East, and struggling to find a way to score.
And now, will said Big West team put one on? No, they will not. That shot high from Adam Mickelson. With 2:20 left, and he's still on the ground.
It looks like Mickelson might have, his body might have finally given way. It looks like a calf cramp out there, perhaps. And yeah, you can see see that thing is just locked up.
Connor Tipton, he is about to re-enter as the trainer heads over to Mickelson. Not a surprise with the weather, and now above 90 minutes played, almost to 100 on this one. And so Mickelson now will head to the bench. Players getting some water, getting some Gatorade.
That isn't correct, because it's not. We have one for the injury.
Yeah, I'm subbing.
There's Dwayne Schaefer.
I'm subbing 19 for 23.
He's going to make a couple subs. Emmanuel Doherty is going to go back. Connor Tipton's going to go back on.
Okay. Maddie!
Or excuse me, Doherty's coming off. Kyle Marcotte is going on. Certainly going back to one of the things that you just said, John, certainly a teachable moment for Elmar Bolovic if this is the score that ends up holding true with under 12 minutes left total in this overtime, these overtime periods. Cruz gets it, and just a little bit of a miscommunication there. But after you get a win over a top 15 team to then come back and play for a draw, it's like, all right, you're not as good as you thought you were. Let's keep moving forward as Big East play rapidly approaches.
And I don't know, sometimes I think that coaches secretly love when their teams underperform or perform to a perceived down level of an opponent, because it does give them that opportunity to humble a team and keep them working hard. Not that coaches ever want to lose.
And that's the thing, right? Because if this is a loss, maybe you don't feel that way. But if you get at least a point out of it all, heck, especially if you somehow find a way to win. Under a minute now, 40 seconds approaching. Roy Boateng is going to kick this one back into play. There's Justin Wright, number 12. Boateng. Keem Ward puts a head on it to Shiro. Gibson trying to clear it with 20 seconds, and he does. And one last opportunity for the Jays in the first overtime period. Udati. Right strand. Espeleta with the left foot. And it goes off of an Aggie. And that is the end of the first overtime period. 10 minutes left in this one. Will we see a team win? Will this end in a draw? We will find out next here on Jay's Video. Stadium alongside John Schreiner. I'm Josh Peterson. 0-0 is the score with one final overtime period to go between the UC Davis Aggies out of the Big West and the Creighton Blue Jays out of the Big East. Thank you so much for joining us as your weekend comes to a close. School year beginning for Creighton last week. Crowd on hand on a very warm night here just north of downtown Omaha. After a really frantic end, John, to the second half, not a whole lot of frantic play in that first overtime. I think UC Davis very content with playing for that point, and the Jays just unable to get much going.
Yeah, it was an odd first overtime after Creighton dominated proceedings for large stretches of that second half. It seemed like everyone just kind of settled in, almost satisfied with the result already in that first overtime period. We'll see if a little chat changed the fortune and can have an effect on the outcome here in the second overtime.
LeGros clearing it toward Troston. And already perhaps more than we saw in the entirety of that first 10 minutes of overtime. Here's Eunice Badati. Udai Toshiro, and that touch just a little off. Hakeem Ward, no one's marking him, and that one knocked away by Lapsley.
Good effort from distance by Hakeem Ward, forcing the save from Lapsley.
Looked like he was just kind of surprised that no one marked him and no one defended him. Here's Rydstrand. Nice play there from Espeleta. Udai Toshiro now to Ward. Gibson back to Mitch LeGros.
You see UC Davis sitting very deep on the ball, just trying to do this. Turn it over in midfield and work the counterattack.
And a foul called there on Connor Tipton. And so that will go to Paul Cruz and the Jays. 7:45 now left. Hakeem Ward looking for Luke Hawkinson. Nice battle there with Boateng. And Boateng kicks that one out. 7:18 to go.
Hawkinson tried a little chop flick on the inside, and Boateng was having nothing to do with that. Just stood his ground and held it out.
Troston with the left foot. Lapsley gets on the ground again. 21 shots this evening for the Jays, 9 for the Aggies. Crowd not pleased with Wallace Lapsley. Took about 15 minutes to send that one in the air, or 15 seconds rather, to send that one in the air. Felt like 15 minutes, nonetheless. Polott back to Ward. Troston to Polott, and he just is unable to control it. The Jays partisans wanted a handball.
I think they're just upset that Rydstrand was called for a foul. It certainly looked like that Quincero might have gone down on his own, but now a yellow card being shown to Luke Hawkinson.
Clock is stopped.
Hey, he kicked the ball. Hold on.
And now the ref is, hey, what are you doing? I didn't blow the whistle yet to resume play. Hawkinson gets the yellow.
Appears that it was Roy Boateng given the yellow card.
And that one goes out. Interesting. So under 6 now to go.
I thought that perhaps he'd given it to Hawkinson for standing in front of the ball when it was a free kick.
Yeah, and he was looking right at him, but sure enough, Boateng gets the yellow.
Wonder what he said.
Only blemish on his performance so far tonight, Roy Boateng. Tremendous outing. 5.5 to go. Ward, he has toward Troston. He gives it to Troston, right back to Ward. A good touch there to Ridestrand. I wonder if he was trying to get it to Troston once more.
Certainly looked like it.
Ridestrand, I don't know if he realized that he was behind him and moving at a really good pace. Under 5 now. Gibson was battling it out there with Behringer. 4.5 left. Jays have pretty much dominated the first 5 minutes of this overtime period, John.
Yeah, UC Davis has been more than content to sit back and absorb the pressure.
Will the Jays break through and get the goal to end this one? Or will that strategy work? Great aggressive keeping by Lapsley, and he just takes that out of the sky. He took about 15 seconds to kick a previous one. Doesn't waste too much time sending this one to the other side. Toshiro chasing it down. A foul called on the Blue Jays.
Exactly what UC Davis wants in that situation. It's a chance to move forward. It's a free kick situation, the set piece opportunity. They were not having luck playing out of their own back end, so this is a great let off by the Blue Jays from a Davis perspective.
Behringer a little too long for Connor Tipton.
Those are the situations, though, Josh. That's how we've come to know this UC Davis team. In watching them tonight, they're gonna absorb pressure a little bit. They're gonna hit long balls, but out of those set piece opportunities, they're gonna create some things. And they just haven't been able to put one away tonight. They've put one off the crossbar and one off the upright, but nothing over.
Kind of caught the Jays napping, it seems. You know, they haven't really had a whole lot of possession in this period, and so they finally get it. And I don't know if the Jays realized that they were going to attack like that, and suddenly an opportunity, and they could have ended the game right there after, once again, the Jays have had so much possession in this overtime period. Under 2.5 now remaining. There's Kyle Marcotte. Tries to split Ward, and Troston is unable to do so. Ward tried to get it to Udai Toshiro and was unable to do so.
Just a bit too long for Toshiro, who had some space down this near wing. Opportunity wasted again for the Blue Jays.
Troston knocks that one out, under 2. Justin Wright. Good tackle by Ward. Troston trying to do the same. Unable to take it away. Marcotte called for a foul there. Polot trying to clear him out. 1 minute now left. And the clock will stop at 58 seconds.
Certainly not looking like the breakthrough's coming.
And that one just skied high.
Now I think we'll see a lot of time wasting.
Just a lot of frustration being showed right now, under 40 seconds. And Wallace Lapsley taking some more time. And finally delivers the ball with 25 seconds to go. And it surely seems like this is going to end in a draw unless Luke Hawkinson can say something else about that. Gets into the box, goes down, no call. Whole lot. And an offside was called. Wallace Lapsley, and that will do it. This one ends in a draw 110 minutes later, and both of these teams will exit this one with a 1-0-1 record.
You need to look no further than the players on the pitch to see how each team feels about this. Immediately, several Blue Jays went to the ground, held their heads in their hands. UC Davis walks off the pitch, heads held high. Certainly, from a Blue Jay perspective, it's going to feel like a negative result, and Davis is going to feel pretty good.
And let's hear what Elmar Bolovich thinks. We go down to the field and Emma Brush. Emma?
Thanks, Coach. After the performance tonight, what do you have in mind to prepare for Grand Canyon on Friday?
Well, first of all, we need to find our identity again. We need to work on our final third play, attacking play. It wasn't sharp enough tonight. We didn't score goals on our home field. There's no excuse. We could have done better there, and we didn't. And as a result, we go away here with a tie.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.